Oh, hi guys, it's Dr. Fallon. Good to see you. I got the thumbs up, so we're on, we're live. It's great to see you. Tonight we're going over raising healthy families. This, of course, is something that's just near and dear to my heart. Got the awesome crew here. My wife, Dr. Barb, Madeline, Braden, and Ryan. These are my kids, my loved ones. And why I go into this, if you've been to one of our dinner talks, is my story. I had asthma and allergies really bad as a kid. Had to take a lot of medications through steroids, corticosteroids, like the inhalers, nebulizers, all these different things. And thankfully, knowing the different tips here, knowing chiropractic, knowing the nutrition, we've been able to change that cycle. Many times that kids follow in their parents' footsteps, or we follow in our parents' footsteps, we've been able to break that cycle with our family. And then my goal and mission here is to be able to break that cycle for you and your family and help you raise super healthy or healthier kids from the information that you get here. We did start a few minutes late. We're just awesomely busy at the office today. So instead of answering questions as I go, please comment on here, or also you can private message us if you've got any personal information there. Or more importantly, we'd love to answer your questions in the office. And thank you, all of you, for being on today. We really appreciate you for that. So big picture, big principle. Number one, I think I mentioned this, but so the kiddos, I had asthma, allergies, all these. Haven't had to have any medications for those things, which is amazing. And I'm going to show you the different nutrition things that we use for our kids. But big principles, number one, we have to go way back when we talk with kids. And just remember the fact, and it's the same thing with all of you adultos. We say kiddos and adultos here in the office. That one time we went from 2 half cells to 90 trillion cells over 9 months. And what happened with this whole thing is we've got this this conception here, this awesome part, and then we go from there and it doubles and it doubles and doubles. And 15 days in, we get this neural tube here, and this nervous system starts to develop the body, goes out to all the organs, all the cells, all the tissues, and it's this amazing intelligence inside the body that starts to get us to where we are. And that intelligence, that thing inside us when we're born doesn't stop. And so everything through chiropractic is what's called above down, inside out. Starts to get the body working and functioning how we're supposed to, how we're designed to, even if we live in a crazy world. And so everything I'm going to do today and talk about today is getting the body functioning like it's supposed to. And the number one thing that moderates our system is our nervous system. And so that's why chiropractic focuses on that first, because it goes out to all these organs, all the cells, all the tissues, and why it's so important. Honestly, from birth, patients ask, like when we see moms through pregnancy in our office, they say, how soon should I get my kids adjusted? And so my honest answer is, my wife, Dr. Barb, did natural birth, awesome birthing process. She's just an amazing mom. It's such a cool thing to witness and be a part of. But honestly, how quickly my kids were adjusted. They were born. We got to let the cord stop pulsing, cut it, and then at that point, that's when I checked my kids. That's how important it is for this nervous system. And checking a child is like putting the pressure on your eyeball. But just checking and making sure that from in utero constraint, if their head's been off, or from a tough birth process, or those things, any of you, I know we've all been through birth, but if you've watched some tough ones, especially say C-sections, they can be very hard on the kiddos. So we've got our Chiro Kids Club. We see a lot of kids in the office to keep the spine healthy, keep the body healthy, and it makes an amazing difference. Things anecdotally, there's a lot of research out of Australia, showing changes with colic, reflux, things like that. But you can just see it's like a better tone of the baby, a better feeling. The moms say like they got their kid back, what they thought their kid would be after they're getting adjusted. So the birth process, number one, can be very tough. I mentioned in utero constraint, but that's if the body's, the baby's got their head tilted and like they're not getting where they should be in the birth canal as much as they should. And these things long term through the time can cause where they don't rotate or turn as well as they should. That can put a lot of pressure up into the neck and these other areas that once it's adjusted, the baby's much more comfortable. They sleep better, they'll turn better, meaning that like when they're breastfeeding, that they can actually turn and latch on and do those things that they should through the time. Now, when kiddos come out, generally you're gonna have a strong immune system. A couple things, the less sugars that they have over time, the longer that you stay off of grains as a child, so like the longer that you're actually off grains, they say that the gut does not form until about 12 to 18 months as far as grains. So the quicker those are in, that increases allergies. May get some questions on that. There's a long rabbit trail here. When you get into kids' health, there's a lot of different topics that we could get into. Honestly, today is just going to scrape the surface, going to open some of these up and open it up to some great discussions here for in the office. But from that point, getting into the immune system, getting these different things, there's a ton of research, of course. The longer the mother can breastfeed, a year is the best timing for that. That increases the immune system substantially for the children and get them used to their environment. And then, the things that mom's fought over the years and things like that. Also, when kiddos get sick, a lot of times people will rush to Tylenol and different things that suppress the immune system and suppress temperatures and the immune response. And in a few minutes, I'm going to give you some tips on actually what are some other actions that can be taken for yourself and for your kids that can moderate those things instead of taking it over and flex the immune system like a muscle in the body. And it's just like if you use bicep curls, what's going to happen over time? That muscle is going to get bigger. As long as you're putting a resistance, the body wants to adapt. If you give it things that tell it to calm down or tell it to stop, at that point it's going to get sicker again. Also, say antibiotics. Antibiotics are very widely used. A lot of the journals now are talking about how it's overly used for kids and adults. If someone has antibiotics, remember that 40% of our immunity is in our gut, from our probiotics and the flora, the bacteria in our gut. When you have the probiotics or when you have the antibiotics in those areas, it wipes that out. So now you just took out 40% of the immunity, plus again, you didn't let that the immune system flex. Now you're at a 50-60% lower system. Now that's when the child's going to get sick again, and it creates these cycles. So in the immune protocols I'm going to talk about in a minute, we do put probiotics, but then a bunch of nutrition, herbs, and things that increase the immune system. One thing for kids, this is just rampant right now, but sugar. Studies showed in a normal adult, 1 teaspoon of sugar will decrease the immune system for the next 8 hours. Many of us adults are having, sugars with breakfast, sugars in our coffees, our adrenal or like monster drinks or different things like that, or drinks that have sugar in it all the time, or sweet teas, Coke, Pepsi, all these. On top of being acidic and the sugar that we have all day long, unless you're doing like a good keto diet or those type of like low glycemic type diets, most of us have way too much sugar going on, and that long-term decreases our immune system. You see this pattern happen many times. The flu epidemic and those things happens in October, November, December. The other thing is our sugar intake goes up in those holiday months significantly also, lowering our immune system and allowing us to become sicker. So trying to moderate that for kids. Little things here like our kids, unless it's a holiday, don't get these juices, don't get the juice boxes, those things. They do a water cup, they get their water cup every day, they fill it up. We do good glass bottled water, or say reverse osmosis, trying to not have tap water. A lot of them now have high levels of chlorine, high levels of lead, and try not to just put that stuff in the kiddos' bodies. From there, even fruit juices contain as little as 5% juice. If you look at the fruit juices, even on the soda machines or pop machines, it contains no juice, but it says you're getting a juice. So please look at it, read it. Even juice itself is the extracted sugar from a fruit. It spikes the insulin, so that should be used in moderation. Try to get your kids used to just drinking and having water. If you need to do a little bit of flavor, like some lime or lemonade, that makes a big deal. Even if your kids have stuff now that they always have, put in half water and then do half, I want to say pop, I'm from the north here, sorry. But like half, whatever the flavor that you normally put in. But really try to take these things out of the diet. Immune boosters, of course, as this kiddo knows, first of all, getting adjusted helps the body work better, helps to just get those nervous system and all the organ cells, tissues working at a higher level, and we see them getting not sick as much and then getting over it faster. Normally, what you should see if a kiddo gets sick is they're not feeling good. Now it's normal, so like my kids get sick, they get colds, things happen, right? But what happens is every time they do that is like a learning experience. So they should get sick. Maybe they're clinging on you. They've got a temperature. They're not feeling good. They're laying on the couch or something like that. But this should be, say, a 24-hour, maximum 48-hour cycle. For 95% of the time, it's about a 24-hour cycle. What we do is, one, get them adjusted. Now, of course, it's easier because I'm a chiropractor, but our patients do the same thing. From that point, we use these different supplements. Now, about 3 years ago, I wrote an article. We still give it out in the office. We can send it out to you if you request it or if you come in as a patient. But I wrote this for one of my wife's mommy groups when we did a talk like this for them. And these are the basic things and the basic principles that we still use. And I want to go over a couple of these with you. It's actually the reason why I'm giving this talk today is because of a great conversation with a patient, and our thought was more people need to hear this information. One thing that's on here, there's a supplement from Standard Process. It's called calcium lactate, and calcium in the body is what moderates the temperature. And generally in the body will fight and moderates the immune system. And when your body is kicking up this temperature, I'm going to do a quick drink here. Sorry, so the body's going to kick up this temperature here. 99 to about 101, 101.5 is a normal temperature for a kiddo. Once it goes over 101.5, that's not a danger zone, but it's getting closer. You don't want it to go over 103. And so what's happening is when you get over that 101, that's when what we do is we crush up the tablets of the calcium lactate. We'll put it, yes, in a little bit of juice, like a little shot glass or something like that, so they'll drink it. But normally after that, you will do the calcium lactate, we'll do a cold cloth on them, and then within about 1 hour, you can watch a clock, the temperature will drop down to about 99. This will go for 4 or 5 hours, and many times throughout the entire night. And at this point, when they wake up, they'll be much better. You might have to do this for 2 nights, but that brings back the temperature to a good spot where the temperature is burning off those bacteria and virus, and that's the natural immune response for the body. You want that muscle to flex, you want it to go, but you just don't want it to go out of control. So that's how you're able to moderate this and keep it at a steady burn and not have it. And it's been a beautiful secret for our family and for our kids, and seeing this time and time again with recommending to staff and patients works the same every time. The other thing that's in a beautiful immune booster we have on here is called chewable Congoplex. If you're familiar with Standard Process, there's an adult Congoplex, which is a pill form. 3 of these tablets, and they taste like cherry. They're chewable, so the kids can do it. Or it's like 1 adult tablet. So we'll give 4, 5, 6 of those to the kids morning, noon, and night when they're getting sick, or say one of them's sick and you're trying not to get the other ones. My kids fight over it. They ask for it. My little 3-year-old Ryan this morning was go, "Daddy, can I have some Congoplex?" And it's like, sure, man. It's like candy for them. But they love it. It tastes good. It's good for them, and it boosts their immune system, helps the thymus gland become stronger and work better. There's a couple other supplements. One that's foraging for kids. Kids don't need a ton of probiotics unless you've had any antibiotics go on. At that point, you've got to repopulate that. You do one of these capsules. These are made for kids. You can open them up, mix them in yogurt, mix them in anything, applesauce or just normal food, and or even it'll dissolve in water, or milk for kiddos. If you're breastfeeding and your child's been on antibiotics, you can actually put a little bit on the breast area or on the areola there, or also put some in the bottle, and that works really well. From that point, do 1 capsule a day for a month, and it'll really help the body repopulate the gut. For normal kids, you don't have to do it that long, maybe just a week if you're trying to do an immune boost. From there, we use Tough Play. Ooh, I caught it. This is an herbal one that's really good from Systemic Formulas. And so all these are about 10, 12. This one's 25, it's a little more expensive. But to get all the nutrition that we recommend for just the basic level immune booster, you don't need to use these all the time. It's literally just when all the kids are getting sick, or you just start to get that sniffle, you're trying to boost it up. You'll do a squeeze full of this. It's all the herbs. It's got a little bit of xylitol in it, so it tastes sugary. So they love it. You're not giving them a ton, but that actually helps to boost the immune system. We have a colloidal silver. This is a throat spray, so it's good for all the throat stuff, and that works fantastic to clear that out. So we do these different things in conjunction to each other to help the body work better. Now, there's also ones if your child gets a lot of stuff, if it's sinus, if it's more specific in the lungs, there's other herbals and things can be recommended per patient or per child. But in general, we've got the protocol here for the basic stuff. And I just want to kind of open it up because our clinic is called First Step Chiropractic, and really the first step for these things is basics. Go back to how our body was designed, allow it and support it to work better. Help it work better, flex those muscles, get it working the right way, give it the nutrition and support that it needs so it can overcome the basic stuff. So when everyone's getting sick, you guys are the ones that withstand it and get it working the right way. So I thank you guys. I was trying to make this pretty concise and just work well for you. I'm excited to see your questions, to go over these things. Thank you so much for just being a part of our journey here. Let us know what other future talks and things you'd like to hear about. Have a great night. See you in the clinic. God bless.